Hello dear viewers and fervent followers of Royal Television. You're welcome to the first edition of News Hour for the week. My name is Frida Lena. Let's open News Hour today with our headlines, where the governor of the South region, Bernard Tokalia Bilai, has banned the sales and consumption of harsh drinks like Wake Up, Bullet, Odogu Bitter and Action Bitters in the Southwest region. Out of Cameroon, at least 108 persons died following devastating floods as a result of weeks of heavy rainfall in Kenya. And in sports, the mortal remains of sports enthusiast Ndakake have been laid to rest in his native Wonyalionga village here in Boya. Details of this story only on News Hour today. I'll be back. You're welcome back, dear viewers. As we told you in one of our top stories, following recurrent reports concerning the significant circulation and consumption of drugs like tramadol and Indian hemp and contraband beverages like Wake Up, Bullet, Odogu Bitters, Action Bitters in the Southwest region, Governor Bernard Tokalia Bilai has called on security forces to prevent their entry into the region and intensify operations to seize and destroy the toxic substances. Sharon Tita has more in the following report.
The governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Tokalia Bilai, has expressed concern over the widespread circulation and consumption of harmful substances like tramadol, Indian hemp, Wake Up, Bullet, Odogu Bitters, and Action Bitters. He has called on security forces to prevent their entry into the region and intensify operations to seize and destroy these toxic products. Tramadol, a prescription pain medication, can lead to dependence, addiction, and serious side effects like respiratory depression, seizures, amongst others. Common effects include dizziness, nausea, constipation, and headache. Prolonged use can cause withdrawal symptoms in newborns if taken during pregnancy. Contraband beverages, Action Bitters, though marketed as restorative, can be harmful due to unregulated ingredients. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control advises consumers to opt for products with NAFDAC numbers, ensuring they have been tested for safety. The governor's call to action highlights the need for vigilance against these substances.
Sharon Tita ending that report. On to other news. Royal Television crew members have been enjoined to accept criticisms, correct ethically, and carry out their reporting as per the canons of the journalism profession. This was the summary of an in-house training exercise that culminated over the weekend at Royal Television Boya, the new vision of Africa. Honorin Cheng has the details of the in-house workshop.
Staff of Royal Television Boya, the new vision of Africa, have been drilled on how to improve the quality of their reporting so as to boost work efficiency and productivity while maintaining the canon of the journalism profession. The management lead, Samayani, underscores the raison d'etre of this in-house training, which is intended to shape and fine-tune Royal TV staff's reporting skills and their on-air presentations.
We are not just interested to give you the news as it is, we are interested in improving the delivery of it, and perfection is what we aim at, because we know that there are different people watching of different level of intelligence. So we have to make sure we get across all these persons and meet them and explain the news to them the way as to get it.
Royal TV has as objective to build a trustworthy brand, and in doing so, it's need for this learning platform, which not only serves as a means to bridge the niche gap of these trainees, but to engage them on interviewing techniques and how to handle difficult guests. Frida Lena, editor-in-chief at Royal Television, while loving the platform, said such an initiative is welcome given that it ushers in an avenue for royalty staff to learn from one another while accelerating steady growth.
As interview technique, when you meet difficult guests, there are things you should do. I'll give just three for the sake of this interview. You have to stay focused. Because the guests, we know they are learned, they are educated, they know we know, but then we meet at the crossroad of getting information to educate the public. So if you meet a guest who is difficult, the first thing you should do is to stay calm. Be calm first. Secondly, focus on what you're doing. Focus on the topic, focus on the discussion line, focus on the questions you're asking, and above all, respect the guest. Because you may get angry with difficult guests at one point, you're tempted to disrespect the person. It's not really good for a journalist.
Nanga Sonia, on her part, underscored the dire need for ethical journalism while stressing the importance of new verification sources as a means to eradicate misinformation, disinformation, and the malinformation.
It's okay to have news, it's okay to know the news, but then that news you have, how veritable is the news that you're relating back to your community, or let's say your audience? For this training, I talked about the credibility of news reporting, where I said you must have balanced information. By this, I mean, check your sources. If both parties are involved, endeavor to get explanations, like you get explanations from both sides, and then you write a story and give back to your audience.
By Williams of the Technical Department beacons on the journalists to reinforce their intonations, pitches through vocal trainings and intentional simulation.
A good journalist is the voice. When we get to know about a good journalist, it is from the voice. And I talked about recording your voice. Distance from your voice to your microphone or to your recorder is pertinent and important. Also, those who are doing the editing should know that all dead ends should be removed in order for perfect productivity.
While the news editors have been charged to remain rigorous in carrying out their duties, the staff hence better understands workflow processes, the use of poetry, art, and storytelling, alongside embracing AI, artificial intelligence, for newsroom productivity.
Many thanks, Honorine Cheng, for that report. On to other news, staff, students and ex-students of GHS Limbe have pledged their support and commitment in making the institution great. This was at the 50th anniversary celebration of the school that took place over the weekend in Limbe. The event was characterized by sports work, symposium, dances, sketches, debates and more. As you tell us, Natalie Njuma.
Students and alumni of Government High School Limbe gathered at the school campus to celebrate its Golden Jubilee. The event, filled with nostalgia, color and celebration, saw the teachers, students, ex-students, as well as invited guests celebrate 5 decades of academic excellence, discipline and transformation. The 50th anniversary of GHS Limbe was celebrated under the theme Humble Beginnings, Golden Present and Engaging the Future Together. Week-long celebration began with a sports work and caravan from the former campus at Down Beach to the present at the two Limbe, showcasing a region of cultural display, intellectual engagement and institutional reflection, symbolizing unity and continuity between generations of learners.
We are thanking you very much to the government to train the citizens I'm also making a clarion call on all those students who are involved in this business, that there is nothing biasing or shaming myself, particularly raising to join the band to make GHS
Celebration featured a symposium that focused key thematic areas including volunteerism, career development, financial literacy, artificial intelligence, and youth empowerment, where volunteerism was emphasized on as a pathway to leadership and service. The event was presided over by the Minister of Secondary Education, represented by the Southwest Regional Delegate Dr. Njie Martin Esongo. While addressing the population, Dr. Esongo commended the contributions of the Alumni Association.
Enhanced pedagogy and for the generator to take care of the regular power outage. I think that's one. One important thing which we must know about this this part is very important for excellence. In addition to that, we also had
it's a celebration that has place because there's every reason to celebrate. It's 50 years of excellence. I think GHS is an example of a good where it's not only academics, but also dealing on the personality of the human being. Yesterday in the exchanges, one of the former vice principals highlighted the issue of character and the place integrity imbibed from education. So I think that there's every reason to do this celebration, and that it's a good thing that we as excellence can contribute to make the education of children who are coming after us better facilitated so that they can better
strengthening the institutions, noting that the efforts complement government action in improving education. The ceremony also featured the unveiling of a 50th anniversary monument and a newly constructed dining shed dedicated to Premier Principal Mr. Samuel Dive Fufabeke. Awards were presented to outstanding students, teachers, former staff, and administrators in recognition of their service and dedication over the decades. In the meantime, the celebrations reaffirmed not only its legacy, but also its shared commitment to shaping future generations through education, discipline, and innovation.
Inhabitants of Boya, chief town of the Southwest region, have been cautioned on the proper disposal of waste as it is a vital aspect to sustainable development. The advice from environment experts comes on the heels of the 2026 edition of the World Day of Zero Waste on the theme Food Waste. Natalie Njuma tells us more.
International Day of Zero Waste, commemorated every March 30, seeks to highlight the importance of waste management globally and the need to promote sustainable consumption and production patterns to address the waste pollution crisis. According to environment experts, every year, humanity generates between 2.1 billion and 2.3 billion tons of municipal solid waste. Without urgent action, the annual waste generation will hit 3.8 billion tons by 2050. The report added that waste pollution threatens human health and aggravates the triple planetary crisis of climate change, nature, land and biodiversity loss, as well as crisis, pollution, and waste. As International Day of Zero Waste is commemorated on the theme is a theme which stresses on food disposal, yet prevents food driver of environmental harm. It is observed that the world is wasting food at an alarming scale, finding food security and slowing progress towards a zero waste. And waste represents a major climate and environmental threat. They account for up to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions, nearly 5 times the emissions from the aviation sector, and up to 14% of global methane emissions. Food waste is among the most cost-effective, achievable climate solutions aligned with zero-waste approaches that prioritizes prevention, resource efficiency, and systematic change. Government, businesses, and individuals must embrace zero waste to overcome the waste pollution crisis. Call on stakeholders, including government, civil society, businesses, academia, communities, women, and youth to participate in national, subnational, regional, and local zero waste initiative. March 30 is the International Day of Zero Waste, observed annually to highlight the importance of sustainable consumption, production, and better waste management.
Many thanks, Natalie Njuma. And on to religion, Christians have celebrated Palm Sunday, which gives the beginning of Christian Holy Week. At the PCC Likoko Membia congregation, Christians gathered to show their unshakable faith for Jesus Christ, waving palm fronds signifying Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Mwambo Williams was at PCC Likoko Membia. He brought back the following report.
Christians around the world have celebrated the triumphant entry of Jesus into Jerusalem, marking the beginning of Holy Week. Parishioners at PCC Koko Membia gathered for a special Palm Sunday service reflecting on the significance of this day in Christian faith. The service was led by Reverend Gomodibo Matthias on the theme Believe and Trust in God, who reminded the parishioners of Jesus' humility and service, calling on them to follow Jesus' footsteps, serving others with love and compassion.
On the Mount of Olives, Jesus sent two disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and at once you will find a donkey tied there with a cord by."
Some of the Christians who have been fasting and praying without ceasing expressed their experiences.
We are gathered this morning to celebrate Palm Sunday. So we are celebrating the triumphant entry of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem. And it's a big feast for us because for the past 30-something days, we have been journeying with Jesus Christ in the 40 days that he was fasting and praying to save mankind. And so today he entered Jerusalem in a triumphant manner. We are also happy and celebrating the Palm Sunday, which is the triumphant entry.
The service that was championed with praise and worship also had in attendance some dignitaries like Senator Charles Belamoki, who has to say,
I think the Palm Sunday has a lot of lessons for us, especially at a time that the world is going through a lot of challenges, and particularly our country, where Cameroonians have questions without answers, and a lot of policy approaches are becoming an embarrassment to the population. This is a time to turn to God in prayers and draw lessons from what Palm Sunday offers us as Christians.
The service was also spiced with Holy Communion and Thanksgiving from a guest group, the Simple Sisters, followed by fundraising for the fostering of God's work. The day ended with songs and dance in praise of the triumphant King, Jesus Christ.
For close to a month now, car owners and road users are crying foul at the supposed scarcity of fuel in the southwest region. Reports say filling stations are seen filled with queues of cars very early and late at night, and all for the use of other machineries. As student journalist on internship Gami Glenn Youngbird went researching and brought back the following report.
Like humans, desperately in need of water to revamp their energy. This case are not human beings but cars in desperation at the filling station, fuel, lining up and patiently waiting for each and every tank to be filled and wait-giving for the next order to cut traffic. These are private-like commercial vehicles in the march of fuel. This is a taxi driver in India.
The number in the station this road ever since. But I think not people have because we use the roadside for the manage that was why not to that. This is what we don't be so ever since. I think it was on a supply, the subsidy that was that's
In a cold night to the broad daylight, the stations are still experiencing a beehive scenario as the station attendants are as busy as never before because about 90% of the persons cars are escaping the roadside petrol, locally known as funge, because of the rise in its prices. This is Mr. Tabe Pave, another from one of the stations.
For the past 1 hour, we have having scarcity of petrol, not only we are the whole of Cameroon. But besides, we are see many taxis, private vehicles tend to come to the station. The roadside fare have increased drastically, let me say, up to about 1 cent. Roadside fare was this 8,500, station was 8,400. But now roadside fare tend to increase up to 10,000. Some local sites, even in the local, they say 10,500 pounds, but the station fare is 8,400 pounds.
As this phenomenon of scarcity is dragging on, many are begging and calling on the authorities that be to step in and ensure upper pressures in order to keep any future economic malaise at bay.
Our student journalist on internship, Gami Glenn Youngbird, reporting there. And onto this sad page, shock and anger have grieved the Ndokpasi neighborhood in Douala following the alleged killing of an 11-month-old baby over stolen phone disputes by her uncle. The suspect is currently on the run as residents and family members call for swift justice. Ngoni Sonita recounts the horrible scene.
A grieving young mother remains in deep shock after losing her 11-month-old baby girl, her first child, allegedly killed by her brother-in-law. She recounts the horrifying moment she witnessed a 24-year-old suspect violently attack the infant, leaving her helpless.
Thank you, and danger.
He said whenever he feels endangered, he would do something. He pretended to leave, then return and carry my child. The grandparents tried to catch him. He saw me. He broke the child's neck in front of me. She didn't shout, as she was already gone. When his mom approached him, he threw the child to the ground, and we rushed and picked up the child, rushing to the hospital, but she was already dead. Family members say the tragic incident stemmed from an earlier disagreement between the suspect and his sister over a mobile phone. The accused reportedly been absent for 5 days before returning to the family residence in Baxi Douala 3, where the incident occurred. The child's father, who is also the suspect's elder brother, says he received news of the child while away. When I got to the hospital, my wife told me my younger brother had killed a child following a dispute with my parents over my younger sister's phone. My brother had taken my sister's phone, and in return, she had invoked the police. I don't know if he saw the force of law and order before running away. Usually,
Depuis le jour là, il est parti, ça faisait 5 jours.
Residents described the suspect as having a history of violent behavior. Several neighbors alleging they had previously been threatened by him. I have been here several times. He always behaved as if he was possessed and always threatened family members. There is nothing positive about this man. I have been a victim of his violence to the point that I spent about a month in the hospital, a source said, and didn't want to be disclosed. Grieved parents also revealed that they had earlier experienced acts of aggression from the suspect. Meanwhile, security forces have launched a manhunt to track him down. The child's father has called for the suspect's arrest and prosecution to ensure justice is served.
You're listening to News Hour on Royal Television. We want to take you out of the country where at least 108 persons have been killed in devastating floods across Kenya following weeks of heavy downpour, with authorities warning that the situation remains critical as thousands are displaced and infrastructure severely damaged. Plus, former Algerian President Liamin Zaroua has died at the age of 84. Authorities in Algeria confirmed, prompting a period of national mourning for the ex-military leader who governed from 1994 to 1999. Nanga Sonia has our foreign news package.
Kenya is facing the aftermath of several weeks of torrential rains and severe flooding that now killed at least 108 people. The updated toll was released on Saturday by the country's National Police Service. Flash floods that began on the evening of March 6 have caused widespread destruction across the East African nation, sweeping away dozens of vehicles, disrupting air traffic, and damaging key power infrastructure. Authorities say more than 2,700 families have been displaced across the country. And although rainfall has eased in some areas, police are warning that the threat is far from over as drainage systems remain clogged and the soil is already saturated, leaving many communities still highly vulnerable to new flooding. Across the country, the floods have disrupted daily life, forcing the closure of schools, rendering roads impassable, and interrupting business activity, particularly in low-lying and informal settlements. Officials say emergency teams remain on the ground monitoring the situation, with additional evacuations expected if rainfall persists. Kenya experiences seasonal flooding each year, but scale and intensity of the current crisis have renewed concerns about disaster preparedness and the vulnerability of communities living near rivers, flood-prone areas. Authorities have urged residents in high-risk zones to remain vigilant and follow official guidance, warning that conditions could worsen in the coming days if heavy rains continue. Congo Brazzaville's 82-year-old president, Denis Sassou Nguesso, secured 95% of the vote in an election that extended his rule, the Constitutional Court said. The March 15 election gave Sassou Nguesso, who has led the oil-rich Central African country for 4 decades, a new 5-year term. The opposition has challenged every election won by Sassou Nguesso. Dave Mofula, one of the 6 candidates who stood against him, formally asked for the election to be declared null and void, but the court rejected the demand. Sassou Nguesso first led Congo Brazzaville under the one-party system from 1979 to 1992 before losing the country's first multi-party elections. He overthrew the winner in 1997 in a civil war. Since 2002, he has been re-elected 5 times in vote, the opposition say. Former paratrooper colonel is one of Africa's longest-serving leaders, along with Equatorial Guinea's Doro Obiangema and Cameroon's President Paul Biya. While he can claim to have brought some stability to the country, rights groups regularly accuse him of persecuting opposition activists. 2 challengers from the 2016 election are serving 20-year jail terms for being a threat to internal security. The Constitution forbids Sassou Nguesso from standing again in 2031 once his term ends. Algeria announced 3 days of national mourning on Sunday after the death of 84-year-old Yamin Zeroual, the former soldier who served as the country's president from 1994 to 1999. Born on July 3, 1941 in the east city of Batna, Zeroual served in Algeria's National Liberation Army, which fought for independence from French rule. After leading a transitional administration during a later civil war, Zeroual organized the country's first multi-party presidential election in 1995, winning by a wide margin. In 1998, however, he unexpectedly cut short his 5-year term, making way for Abdelaziz Bouteflika to succeed him and run the country for 20 years. Zeroual remained respected in retirement. Algeria's president say he had died at a military hospital in Algiers after a serious illness, and that flags would fly at half-mast across the country.
Sports icon Mbela Mokake, fondly known as Mbela Kake, has been laid to rest in his native village Wonyalionga here in Boya. Sporting activities and funeral service took place last Saturday in his honor. Wambo Williams was there. He brought back the following report.
Mbela Kake, Cameroon's iconic sports supporter, was laid to rest this weekend in Boya. The funeral procession started at Boya Funeral Home, where mourners paid their respects. The late sports icon was paraded through the streets of Boya, accompanied by fans, officials, and family, ending with a memorial football game at the Boya Town Green Stadium in honor of his mortal soul. Some of the sports attendees expressed their old-time thoughts and paid tributes to Mbela Kake.
So painful because Mbela Kake was our cousin. Because the father was senior brother to me. The father was the senior brother to my late mother. People think it's a madness, it's a madness because whenever he sees me, he will call me, maybe not a name, he call my elder brother's name, referring to me. Then he always comes, telling me he knows my mom.
The funeral service that held at the family residence was a mix of songs and sermons to the living and tributes to the deceased sportsman.
I was part of that setting, and he was very instrumental in rallying the people, not through his voice, his actions.
He enters a place, he warms up the hearts of people in that place with happiness and joy. Even when you were sad, think about something sorrowful, when he shows up, joy lifts up the whole room.
It is preferable that your mother or your father will remain incapacitated on the bed. You have seen the person that you say that the person is casket. So, brother, with your father.
Mbela Kake was finally laid to rest at the community burial ground in Bonalionga, Boya, as community lives on to remember his passion for sports.
May his soul rest in perfect peace. Still in sports, Boya United and Kamjo have settled for a 2-2 draw on match day 3 following a fast-paced encounter marked by goals, quick responses and strong second-half resilience, with both sides showing attacking talent and tenacity to come from behind at different stages of the game. Kusona Claudia has the details.
Kamjo Sports Academy made a dream start, opening the scoring just 1 minute into the game through Eugene Doe, capitalizing on an early lapse to stun Boya United. Boya United responded with composure and gradually settled into the game. Their pressure paid off in the 23rd minute via penalty, and Elias Sakwe restored parity with a composed finish. The home side then took control of proceedings and completed the turnaround before halftime, ahead of Motombi stroke in the 40th minute to give Boya United a 2-1 lead at break. After the restart, Kamjo Sports Academy returned with renewed determination and attacking intent. Persistence was rewarded in the 55th minute when Ace Njene found the back of the net to let the score once again at 2-2. Both sides pushed in search of a winning goal in the closing stages, but neither could break the deadlock as the match ended in a hard-fought stalemate. The Boya United coach acknowledged his team's performance but expressed disappointment at not securing maximum points.
But in life, everything goes by God's will, and thank God for today. Normally, we want to win because winning the match could have placed us in a better position, and while we still fight for unification. But it's not bad. We have to still work hard. There's a lot of mistakes. You see, considered so early and started winning, and still in the second half we succeed again early at the start of the second half. Means there are a lot of things we have to fight. You know, as Boya United, so much players have left, and I'm trying to get new ones and try to adjust to a team that will suit everybody. It's never been easy, but so far so good.
On the other hand, Kamjo Sports Academy's coach praised his players for resilience and comeback, but also criticized them.
Yeah, very good game. Just because most of the players do not get the instruction. Boya United, Kamjo, we give credit to Boya United. It's a very old team. They have been in the regional league for long. Kamjo is just a new team. I think it should be about 3 or 4 years. We want to build a team. I think if we continue like this, we are going to have a very good season. So we just need to be patient and give confidence to players to play, because I think they're doing a good job. Even although we have small individual mistakes, we need to correct with our training section. So it was not a bad, very good game. So I appreciate the opening, and I also appreciate my team. So keep on working. Yeah, the days ahead will be very difficult, but we will support you. Okay.
The result leaves both teams with a point apiece in a closely contested fixture, with Boya United during a missed opportunity after leading half-time, while Kamjo Sports Academy would take confidence from their ability to fight back and secure a valuable draw.
It is all ended here at the Monica Stadium for the first game of the day here in Boya, counting for the Southwest Regionally. It was Boya United and Kamjo, 2 for United and 2 for Kamjo Sports Academy, with a penalty that wanted to Boya United, which only led to the equalizer, while United's team came in front of Kamjo in the first, but on return from Kamjo Sports Academy, it was 2 for Kamjo, 2 for Boya United.
Dear viewers, thank you for accompanying us today on News Hour. We end here. But before we go, let's revisit our top stories, where we told you that Southwest Governor Bernard Tokalyabai has banned the sales and consumption of harsh drinks like Wake Up, Bullet, Odogu Bitters and Action Bitters in the Southwest region. Out of Cameroon, at least 108 persons have died following devastating floods as a result of weeks of heavy rainfall in Kenya. And in fact, the mortal remains of sports enthus Mbelakake have been laid to rest native Wonyalionga village here in Boya. Every broadcast of News Hour is yours every day at 11 p.m. It was a production of Nguni Sonita, technical assistance from David Titango, general supervision from Alaji Ibasali, and presented by me, Frida Leina. Thank you again for listening. Catch you tomorrow, same time, for another edition of News Hour. God willing. Bye-bye.